the Cyrus formation is the last formation that we're going to be showing an example of and focusing on. This is a more wispy looking cloud type. This might be the most difficult for the students to do. This is my example. I kind of pulled off the ends lightly. So, I mean, this is a very gentle touching cloud formation as far as cotton goes. But this one I pulled apart a lot more than the other two. I just kind of pull and pull, not to break it apart obviously, but you do want it to come away from each other a lot more than the other two. You want to have big open spaces. You want to break it apart. And in fact, this one is only a half of one. That's how much I had to work with. So we'll pull it apart and kind of pull out the ends. Lightly pull out the ends because of the wispy look in the clouds. We kind of just want to pull out the ends like that and make it a little wispy looking, very lightly. Okay, so this will be my example. It's very cool looking if you can get it to this point. It's very cool looking. So for this one, since I've already made it, I kind of have an idea of where I want it to go, but I want one over here and one over here. For the children, this will be the first thing they do, is drawing it out. And before they even get to this, they're going to have to get this okayed, so that way you have an idea of what they're thinking, and you make sure that it's, you know, in aligned with what we're planning on doing for this lesson. So because this one is so far apart, I kind of glued my paper first. You might want to have them do that and then kind of push it onto those areas. Same goes for this one. I'm going to try glue the board first. I found out that trick works a little better than the others where we could, because they were so thick, we were able to just put the glue right on them. This one, it's easier if I do it this way and I kind of just mold it and pat it down, leaving the ends kind of off. Then it really gives that wispy effect. This is a very nice looking one. I mean, they all, of course, have their own creativity and their own shapes. I mean, I'm sure kids can do a lot with all of them, but I kind of like this one as my favorite. So this is the Cyrus. This is the last cloud formation that we're going to go over today. So this is a quick example of what the finished product should look like. The first example is a cumulus. I added in a little more sprinkles of the glitter onto this image and defined the little girl playing. The object is for them to understand the cloud formation and place it under the appropriate name. So they need to include the name of the cloud formation that they are putting together. The second is a stratus. I added a few more just so you could get the idea. You could see the comparison between the two. And again, please make sure that each of their drawings have their names, the name of the cloud formation attached to the picture. Because the point is not only for them to be creative and enjoy what they're doing, but to really understand that this type of formation has a name. And then it would be great for them to understand the concept of the weather conditions around it, and their drawings go with it. But that may be a little too much of high expectation, but that would show real clear understanding of what we're trying to learn here. The last is Cyrus. Cyrus is the stringy looking cloud formation, and I had added in a picture and a little foam figure, and again it includes the name, and it has a drawing to hopefully go along with the theme of it. That's the most important thing. We want them to understand terms, and we want them to understand the what's the difference between the terms, the weather conditions between the terms. The look is different between each of them. Now, as a quick recap, we're going to go over the lesson itself. So, initially, to start off, you're going to begin the lesson by reading the Cloud Book by Tommy DePaula, and you're going to be able to explain to the kids all the different types of cloud formations that there are out there. And then we're going to take the three main formations, the cumulus, the stratus, and the cirrus, and we're going to go over those with them. After looking over the pictures, the images, the laminated images that we had prepared prior to the lesson, we're going to begin by getting them all back to their seats and conducting the project itself. After we're done with that, we're going to pass out the materials needed for the project. As an example, you will have one on the board. You'll be able to go over it with them, displaying exactly what they need to do to get through this project. Going over with them the terms, repeating the terms, and repeating the conditions in which the weather is when these types of formations take place. Now, hopefully throughout all of the reading and the replaying of the names and the weather conditions, similarities, differences, they'll be able to retain that information, because at the end of this lesson, there will be a take-home. So, as soon as we're done getting everyone on their tables, materials passed out, you are going to go over the lesson by example, step by step, so that they'll be able to see what they're going to be making. And they'll also be able to have a visual of what it's going to look like when they're through. Now we have the examples set out here for what they're going to look like. In any case, the children will be able to decide which cloud formation they want to choose when they sit down at their seats. They're not required to do one or the other. They have three they can choose from. So you want them to have fun with what they're doing. You want them to be able to enjoy it, express themselves through each one of their pictures, drawing maybe themselves or their family, or even events that they have experienced themselves. They'll be able to relay onto this piece of paper. So I had additional pieces such as these that we were able to use that they could add onto their pictures. Feel free to do whatever you want to be able to make it personal for your children as well. Now when we're done making the pictures, when we're done doing the example on the board, we're going to go around, and I want you to be able to have the children start on what they're supposed to do on their paper with a pencil, so that way you can see what they're trying to get out there, at least for the cloud formations. Get that on top of their papers, give them a star for those that are completed, and then they can actually start doing it with the cotton balls. I think that the best thing for you to do is, as I did, go over each type, give an example of how to do each one of them. Even if you only have just one big paper, you don't have to do it on 3 separate papers, but so that they can see exactly how they can pull it apart, and you can show them all your little tips and whatever, strategies that you found are helpful for you to get the clouds looking as they do. And then once they're able to get their star, then they can start on it themselves and be creative. Be creative and do whatever they want that will make it personally theirs. So when they're all done and they're all completed, we'll collect all of them, probably hanging them up hopefully around the room so that they can dry, and display them as well so they can be proud of what they've already accomplished. At the end of that, before they leave for the day, one of their lessons that they're going to take home is going to be an assignment here. Draw that cloud is what it's called. Now this is going to be a take-home assignment that they're going to be able to hopefully remember what they learned throughout the day and apply it to this. It says cumulus, stratus, and cirrus. There are 3 empty boxes. Now the children are going to go home and they're going to have to draw each of the 3 in the open spaces. And then they're going to have to write at least one similarity and one difference for each of these cloud types. Now hopefully we'll be able to use this as well as their drawings to rate the understanding of the project and the terms and our objective together.